Cole Cubelic of the Birmingham area is joining us on the show. And you joined us on the show at SEC Media Days in July. And I remember with the Hall of Fame in the background, you and I were sitting there, handheld mics, and we said, might this SEC picture be way more compacted than it normally is? How are we supposed to try and figure out what Tier 2 is going to be? Well, if you go with my four-shelf grocery store theory of college football teams so far, but we're using SEC teams, I don't know if I've got anyone on the top shelf yet. I don't know if I've got anyone on the bottom shelf yet. I just got a whole bunch of Shelf 2 and Shelf 3 in the SEC, and I want to take great pride along with you, 50-50, maybe 55-45 either way, that we sort of called this, did we not?
A little bit. Before we get into that, St. Anselm at Assumption tomorrow night, 2 1-1 teams going at it. You're just leaving them off the list?
Hold on.
We're not even gonna approach that. It's fine.
Model slight lean Assumption. Very slight lean. Yeah.
And part of this too is a couple of those teams that we thought were Tier 2 and maybe we weren't confident that they were at the top of Tier 2 are starting to get there. Some that are in Tier 1 are maybe at the bottom of Tier 2. Texas down, Tennessee up. This is going to sound really weird, but I actually left more confident in Tennessee than I did Georgia. I should probably say I gained more confidence in Tennessee than I did Georgia last week. I didn't have a ton of concerns about Georgia. I didn't think they were incapable of throwing the football down the field. Now, I still have some concerns about their tackles and their pass protection and the consistency on offense. And if a team's going to blitz at safety from 15 yards on the first play of the game so you can hit that one-on-one. But I actually gained a ton of confidence in Tennessee, Josh, because that was the first time since maybe the Fulmer era that I looked at Tennessee on film and said, they are almost toe-to-toe with the Georgia Bulldogs from a physicality standpoint. I mean, I'm jealous that you were at that game, by the way. That was one of the few games I watched on film and said, man, I can't believe I didn't get to watch this live, much less in person, because they were trading paint. Face masks were dented. Tennessee's offense is knocking guys on their rear end. Georgia's offense is knocking guys on their rear end. Both defenses are knocking guys down. The physicality was about even, and that has been far from the truth the last 4 or 5 years when these two teams have played. I mean, 3 years ago in Athens it was. I mean, hell, Tennessee played 4 in the box the whole game, or Georgia played 4 in the box, and Tennessee still couldn't run the ball. So I didn't bring Georgia down at all. But I gained immense respect for Tennessee. And if we did have a Tier 1 here in this conversation, they might be in it for me, even with a loss. I think Alabama is making their way back up there. I would be okay with them being in Tier 1. I understand what happened in the Florida State game, but I like what I've seen since, and I like the potential that lies there. Want to see some guys get healthy, specifically on the defensive line. I think they need Tim Keenum back, and they need to stay healthy. They've lost a couple. Latham missed a game, but it just doesn't have that clear picture of these are the 3 or 4 at the top. We can forget them and then start talking about everybody else, because I don't know if I have LSU in Tier 1 right now. They don't have the capabilities of running the football. And I understand that BK got upset about that after the game, but what are they? The one team in the league has fewer rushing touchdowns and fewer rushing yards per game. I think they're last in the league in explosive plays. So that's got to change. Garrett Nussmeier has made 4 or 5 of the best throws that you'll see this year. But the reason that they have been the best throws, Josh, is because he's eluding pressure or having to get it out way early because there's a free runner at him. And he's having to sidearm it, step into the side because the guy's coming in his face. And it just happens to be right there where the receiver's going to end up outside of his break. So defense at LSU, I love it. Offense got some work to do, no doubt.
What is the thing you've seen around the league so far this year that's disappointed you the most? I'm not talking about stuff that you look back and you say, I just flat out misread this. I overhyped this person or this team or this unit. That's on me. I'm talking about, I'm looking at Florida, obviously for me. I had very high expectations for them, but I really don't think it was unwarranted. I don't know how in the world you watch how they finished last year, how you look at what they should have on the offensive line, tailback position, quarterback. I do think in retrospect, I really underestimated what him missing spring ball, DJ Lagway missing spring ball probably meant for them. But, I mean, Carson Beck missed spring ball at a new program, and it's just boom, boom, boom. He's a 19th-year starter, so that's a little bit different than Lagway. But I do not think my expectations were out of whack for Florida. But I've heard you talk about Florida as well. You know, you torch the barn, kill the rats, let's go find a new head coach. And you've laid it out a lot more all 22 style analytically, and you're talking about how it's not a disaster, but it's things here or there, and it's very undisciplined, penalties and stuff like that. It's nothing that can't get corrected. Problem is, you're having to correct it. You're having to try to correct it driving like really, really steep uphill right now because there is no break. There's no stretch of 3 opponents you're favored by 3 touchdowns against. So Florida's my huge disappointment. If you got another one, okay, but either way, I want you to talk about Florida.
Well, here's the thing with Florida. It's almost worse than how you described it because, no, it's not a disaster, but it's disappointing. And I think when disappointment hits, it's because you felt there was a really good chance that you weren't going to be disappointed and those expectations were going to be met. And the reality of those expectations being met has been there. You can see that light at the end of the tunnel. That light feels a lot further away, and it's bleak. It's dim. It's not near as bright as it once was. There's an aspect of chemistry with that group that's not there, being on the same page. Because if you just watch the plays, it's easy to get excited about or feel pretty good about. But it's the sequencing, it's the mistakes, it's shooting yourself in the foot, those things that are holding them back. And I think you're right about Lagway. I think spring practice is probably something that's becoming a little bit more important across the board we're not talking about. Caden Proctor would be another example of that. Everybody just at Alabama automatically said #1 overall pick, best left tackle in America. Well, he didn't go through spring ball for the 2nd straight year. He's having his struggles. Not saying he can't climb his way out of it. Might end up being a great player this year. Might end up being one of the best left tackles this year. But I think the spring ball, Josh, is when you get better individually. Now, the team can still get better. The team can grow. Position groups can grow. But that's the time that you focus on yourself the most. And if you miss that, that's where some of those things are taken away. And then you compound that with quarterback receiver chemistry, offensive line continuity, defensive backs having that nonverbal communication, just the understanding, the wherewithal, the know-how of, I don't have to lean this way in this coverage because I know he's got it. Or he knows that I'll be there in this place. So he doesn't have to look over at me and get a check. He knows we're going to cover 2 here and everything's going to be okay. All of those things happen in spring ball. And when you miss it, I think it's gone backwards just a little bit. So I would be with you on Florida. I would throw Texas into the mix. It's easy. It's low-hanging fruit to sit here and just say, Arch Manning's not good. Arch Manning's not playing well. He's not playing anywhere up to his capabilities, I don't believe. But when you look at the guys around him, that becomes utterly disappointing as well. The offensive line giving up free runners. And if we're going big picture here, it's probably protection. And I know I'm the offensive line nerd in the room, but goodness gracious, the free runners at quarterbacks. Oklahoma, Auburn, Florida, LSU. I mean, every team, Missouri's got free runners at Berbula 3, 4, 5 times a game. I don't understand how you can just let guys run at your quarterback. Eventually, he's going to get killed. It's going to happen. And so that's one of the things, too, that I look at with Texas. Like, you can't let guys run free off the edge. You can't get confused of, should I slide inside, outside? Who do I take here? You've got to protect your quarterback. There have been some drops. There have been running backs that I don't think are finding the right holes. And the most disappointing part, and maybe this shouldn't be an expectation, but I thought UTEP had the best tackling performance by a defense in an individual game that I have seen this season against Texas last week. One-on-one, out in space, corner on running back, linebacker on tight end, linebacker on receiver, screen, corner fights through a stock block, makes a tackle. I'm sitting there going, who is this defensive coordinator and what are they feeding these kids? Because it was one-on-one tackle after a guy in the hole, blocked perfectly. Bam, here comes backside linebacker, makes a play for 2-yard gain. It was unbelievable. But where I'm going with that, Josh, is last year, that was a 15-yard gain. That was a 19-yard gain, an 8-yard gain, and it was 2nd and 4, or it was 2nd and 2, or it was just a first down, and we're rolling, we're moving. I think the players around Arch Manning all have to raise to their capabilities before I can sit there and say that he's the worst quarterback in the league or the most disappointing guy in the league. I'm not seeing the offensive line play well. I don't think they're getting near the work at the line of scrimmage from the tight end position they did last year, and the playmakers are just not making the plays once they get the football in their hands.
Let me ask you this. You were talking about disappointing play around quarterback position. You were talking about maybe a lack of cohesion, chemistry, et cetera, at Florida. I feel that when I watch Clemson. Offensively, specifically, I feel that. I'm not in that locker room. Like, I don't do the body language thing. I just sometimes you watch a group. It's not hard to watch a group and tell. Like, I know Vanderbilt locker room, number 1 to 85 or however many scholarship guys they have, they'll just go to war for their quarterback. They'll go to war for Diego Pavia. I got no doubt about that. I don't feel like that when I watch Clemson. I don't know what it is, but I look at that, and I'm not saying that's what's holding them back. I am saying there's an intangible factor there. There's a way that I'm used to watching Clemson play. I don't even just mean the talent level. I mean, I'm used to watching those guys, and it's like watching the movie 300. You're not really going to separate one from the pack. They just all feel like they're one unit marching in the same direction. And I watched them against Georgia Tech, but I've watched it all year, and I feel like the pieces I thought were there, these are the pieces that I thought were there. I didn't pick them to win the title, but like I expected them to be the best team in their conference. And even when good things are happening, I don't know, man. It's just, it doesn't feel like this. It feels a little looser. And again, you got to be a fly on the wall in the locker room to really know what that dynamic is. I just think some groups are tighter than others. I don't feel like that one really is.
Pressure, I think, is big in today's college football because kids get it from all over the place. And it's not just, your uncle that was trying to steer you to a school anymore. It's now your agent and people around him, your agents see. You have marketing agents that are hitting these kids. Guys in the portal thinking about the NFL is still a real thing. That's been there for a long time. But now you have guys that are maybe thinking about getting out, going and doing something else, playing somewhere else. There's just a lot that goes into it. Some guys handle that well. Some guys don't. For me, I'm glad you brought up Vanderbilt, because I think they're a perfect example of the flip side of this. And I'm not going to put any accusations on Clemson because I haven't had them this year, so I haven't been around that staff or around those players to have those conversations. I agree with you when I watch them from a distance. You can feel that. But when I watch Miami, when I watch Oregon, when I watch Vanderbilt, and I did have a chance to get up close to them this past week, so I got a different look, a different view of maybe what they are and who they are. There's a couple of things that come to mind and make you think that's why what they are. Confidence is number one. Trust is number two. And number three is the easiest part in this game that we all forget. And it's probably, with today's college football, Josh, the easiest to get away from. And it's having fun. Do you see a bunch of Clemson dudes that look like they're having fun when they're out there playing football? Because at the end of the day, it's a game. And if it's not fun, what's the point? I understand there's a lot of money at stake. I understand there's championships at stake. I understand there's 80-some thousand people coming to watch you, but it's still not going to work if it's not fun. Because then the pressure multiplies, and what the people are saying magnifies, and what you think you have to do yourself to win games also magnifies, and that's not the case. Still do your job, and then work together as a unit, work together as a side of the football, and then work together as a team. That's how it should all flow. Well, you can put a dam in front of all that really quickly when you're not having fun, and then you don't trust the guy next to you, or you're worried about doing your own thing, and you don't have confidence. The number one word that I heard coming out of the Vanderbilt coaches, players, and people around that program through meetings, warm-ups, during the game, after the game, was confidence. We're confident we can do this. We're confident we can run that coverage. We're confident we can get away with those pressures. We're confident that we can run these plays against that defense over and over and over. And sometimes when you hear that, you can tell it's fabricated. And actually, we had a couple of players tell us that we feel like last year it was maybe a little bit of false confidence, that we were believing some things that weren't real. But the part of that makes me know it's real is, Josh, they have an edge, man. That team has an edge. They have points to prove. They have people that they have messages to send to, and they're out to send them. You could hear it on the sideline when I was standing over there covering the game. You can hear it in warm-ups, and I don't think it's just the quarterback anymore. They went and got a couple offensive linemen like I've never seen Vanderbilt have before. We did it Monday night on Read and React. My producer asked me, he said, I want 4 things about Vanderbilt that are different this year. Can you give me those, and can we show them in clips?
We'll get back to the video 1 second. Do me one quick favor. Look down. Make sure you're subscribed. Most of you are. If you're not, please do so. It's the way we keep the channel free, we keep the videos coming, and we get to do college football year-round as God intended. All right, as promised, back to the video.
I said, absolutely. Number one, we're going to show counter because they're running counter this year. They didn't run it last year. Number two, we're going to show that offensive line because they fire off the football, and they're bigger and more physical than I have ever seen a Vanderbilt offensive line be. Maybe there's one out there that I didn't pay attention to, don't know about, but I think that's what they have. And then they went and got some speed on the perimeter. Now, they stole one from their own defense, but they went and recruited a couple of other guys. they can stretch the field vertically and horizontally now to make you play them a different way, which sets up everything that they want to do. And it helps them achieve their offseason goal, number one goal, which was yards before contact for guys like they have in the backfield, quarterback, running back, etc. And Roman says, oh, I got one. Roman Harper, who if y'all hadn't watched Read React Monday night, 6 p.m. Central, you should check it out, SEC Network. I said, go for it, man. I was like, I'll do 3, you do 1. And he goes and gets a picture of the left tackle, and he goes, look at this. He's got his jersey tucked up. He's got belly tats. He's got ponytail, tats on his arm. He goes, I ain't never seen a Vanderbilt lineman have this. This different. That's different right there. I've never seen that at Vanderbilt. Perception's reality. They have an edge, man. Like they're a little bit different in mentality and how they attack things and the things that they do. And I think it's a perfect ending point to that discussion of all the things you have to succeed. And if you don't have those things, or if you're trying to fabricate those things falsely, it's just not going to work.
You know, you could just as easily be describing Georgia Tech right now.
100%. Look at their quarterback, man. Like, I don't think Haynes King could start in the UFL. And I'm dead serious when I say that. But I know this. Every player on that team would take a bullet for him tomorrow.
Yep.
I have zero doubt in my mind about that. If they said, hey, man, Haynes can't play unless you cut your pinky off, they'd be lining up to cut their pinkies off before the game. That's just, I mean, he brings something different. It's, you know, we talked to, and what's weird about this whole conversation, Josh, is last year, what were we saying about DJ Lagway? He raised the level of play of all his teammates. When he was on the field, everybody else played different. Haynes King is that guy because you see your quarterback go take 15, 20 hits a game and you're like, I better get out there and I better do something. Like, this is the guy not supposed to be getting hit. He's trucking people and he's got a bruised shoulder and his knee probably doesn't work and his back's aching. Like, guys, we got to get it going here a little bit. So, yes, 100%. And I think that's trickle-down effect from their head coach as well because I know his mentality, and the kids love him as well, and they love playing for him.
If there's one thing I'd love to see from South Carolina this week, it's that kind of response. It's collectively the way Georgia Tech's guys play for Haynes King, the extent to which we've seen that at Vanderbilt. I'd love for me to be able to turn on that South Carolina game. It's a dogfight in the fourth quarter on the road in Columbia, and it's because everyone's not looking to number 16 to be Superman. Some people are taking it upon themselves to maybe stick their face in the fan a little bit more as well. I know maybe there are certain position groups that are limited there, but there's no way the overall athletic profile of that South Carolina team, I don't care if you got Luke Doty on the field or Lenora Sellers on the field, has them having any business with you having to talk to Theo Vaughn in the fourth quarter to keep viewers tuned in your home building because Vandy's running it up on you. And now you go on the road in pure desperation mode. You're laying nearly double digits, or you're getting nearly double digits, and it's kind of an afterthought game. I think that's a huge game for them this weekend.
It's massive. And first off, I don't think there's going to be enough possessions to go around in this game for anybody to run it up. This game might take an hour and 21 minutes because I think they're both going to run the football. I think both of these teams tackle well. I mean, you watch Marvin Burks at Missouri. I mean, he plays like the Tasmanian devil at safety. Like he just literally wants to get people to the ground and punish you while he's doing it. I think the Missouri defense deserves a little bit more credit here, and that's where South Carolina's problems are going to be. Because if Lenora Sellers is not on the field, who is your best football player on that side of the ball? Now, I love Rashul Faison, and he is a guy that is not afraid of contact. He's not going to run out of bounds, but another player that hasn't necessarily been there through everything with that team. Nick Harbor, we know the inconsistencies. We understand that. So you've got to find somebody else to play super friends without the superhero in the game. And I don't know how many of those they have. And defensively, I think they have some of those guys, but the maturity level needs to rise on defense. And that's what last year they had. I mean, if you got to know Demetrius Knight last year, like you understood the calming effect he had on that defense. Nick Emanawari, the things that he did on the back end of that defense. They have some guys that have been in the system for a while, but it's the overall maturity of how to handle things, how to handle your business, not throw punches during games, things of that nature. So I didn't look at it last week and say, man, Luke Doty's bad. And I've seen 3 or 4 people say that this week. Go watch the drive before the end of the half. He's throwing a couple darts. He's driving them down. And I'm sitting there saying, what a luxury to have a 6-year guy, played receiver, played tight end, can play quarterback, that at least knows how to operate your offense. And by the way, Aaron Nolan wasn't the backup. So everybody clamoring for him to come in. I don't even think that was going to happen after Luke Doty. So they got to get that part figured out first. Then go to what you're capable of, because the traditional run game's not strong enough to just say, okay, let's let Faison go, or we'll split the carries for 35 attempts a game. You can't just open that up. And a lot of what is opened up is because of the capabilities that Lenoris brings. You have to respect the read plays. You have to respect the backsides, the fakes. Well, when Luke Doty's in there, you don't have to do that as much. Yeah, he can break you down and give you a little 4-yard run off a zone read or whatever, but he's not going for 80 or 40. And that's what defensive coordinators get scared of. They don't get scared of a guy chipping you away for 2 yards here and 6 yards there and 3 yards there. They get worried about the guy that can go 90 yards, and Sellers can do that. And I don't know if they have many other guys on that team that, when they have the ball in their hand, are that type of threat.
I know you watch a whole lot of teams. You cover a lot of them in the SEC, but I mean, you've gotten eyes on most of the teams in the country at the higher level, I would think. I would assume you've seen Miami by now. I don't know that I've watched a team just fly around more than Miami does defensively. There may still be holes on the back end. Like, they'll face a quarterback eventually that will test that secondary. I'm just talking about pure athletes flying around. They look like they're playing in such a different gear this year than they were last year. And some of those guys were there last year. I don't know what it is. Like, Miami just jumps off the screen to me when I watch them right now.
Confidence, trust, fun. I mean, watch them play last year and tell me if you thought they were super confident in what they were being asked to do, or if they trusted that the next guy was going to be where he was supposed to be. And that could have been schematic. I don't know. But I mean, it's this. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I know what it looks like, and I know what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
And there are other Miami defenses that I've seen in my lifetime that it very much resembles. I mean, they got assassins on that side of the football, Josh. I don't know another way to sell it. They got trained killers. Guys that come downhill and want to hurt you. And I posted the clip today. When I see a linebacker knock a tackle on his rear end, then take on a pulling guard and work through him and make the play at the line of scrimmage, I'm like, these dudes doing it different. They are doing it different. And you took a good Notre Dame offensive line, a couple of injuries, and you essentially embarrassed them on the opening night of the season for you both. And then the thing that really I love about them, you put the offense on, and they got this workhorse tailback that is massive, but he can slither his way through these little bitty holes. And then you feel like the play is over when I'm watching it, and then 6 more yards or 4 more yards or 8 more yards. He kind of worms his way out, and it's like another 12 yards. They can lean on you that way. They have a change up back that can hurt you on the perimeter. And this is what a lot of college teams don't have. A quarterback who has absolutely no fear of challenging the middle of the field, down the field. I'm not talking about crossers. I'm not talking about mesh concepts 4 yards down the field. I'm talking 20, 30, 25, 18, 12 yards down the field consistently, and Carson Beck does not care. He will attack it, and he will take it, and he will change the way you have to play them defensively. They can protect him, and they can maul you. Oregon might be close. I love what I've seen from Oregon. I actually think they're upgraded at tackle from a year ago. The kid from Texas State's playing great football. I thought Isaiah World was going to be one of the best tackles in college football. His right tackle might be better than him this year. They've got great skill, and their defensive line attacks. And they got a quarterback that looks like he has a chance one day to be special. But Miami's doing it a little bit different than everybody else that I've seen right now.
Yeah, I'd say if you did nothing more than put some Georgia jerseys on that performance, that's the slam dunk #1 team in the country right now. The doubts people have about them, which are valid, by the way, based on history, is can you sustain the consistency of performance? Because you're going to get a whole bunch of double-digit spread favorite games after they get through this little stretch they're in right now, and it's just going to be so monotonous. And can you watch an organization that has not done it to this point under this staff maintain that level of consistency? Because if they can, I don't know that personnel-wise there is a better just overall team out there in the country, especially when you mention what Beck's doing. Yeah, it's funny that some people are surprised by that, like he's not done it before. It's funny to watch people be surprised at a multi-year starter when healthy that does multi-year starter things.
Well, and you've got an offensive coordinator in Shannon Dawson with an air raid background. And I think what you're seeing a little bit, now listen, it's nothing against Cam Ward. That kid was incredible last year. But I think what you're seeing is the offense, when not having to ad lib, not having to move and create, or maybe not even having similar abilities to be able to do that, that when it's on time, on rhythm, on schedule, what it can do, how it can bludgeon you down the field. Now, Cam Ward kind of did his own thing, and it worked, and it was magical, and we had him in the bowl game, and Shannon sat there and told us there's times that I just leave him alone. Like, you just got to say, what in the what? But, oh, okay. Yeah, you just keep doing that, and it's going to be fine. We'll figure it out from here. Now it's kind of, this is the design. This is how we attack it. Let the ball go here. Oh, he's got the arm strength to deliver it. Great, we'll do it. And the receivers are one of those big surprises. We didn't really know what they were going to be. They're playing great for that football team. And I would say counterpoint, and I don't know which direction this goes. You make a great point about Miami if they win this weekend, what lies ahead and how they react to it. There is also the aspect of where that program has been before. And when they get that confidence, you can call it swagger, you can call it whatever you want, there's an aspect of wanting to step on your throat and embarrass you that's always deep-rooted in that place. And if they get that, I wouldn't be worried about the next 3 or 4 games.
Buddy, they go to Tallahassee in a few weeks. I just want to have that on everyone's radar. They go to Florida State in a few weeks. Look, I'm not in the business of handing you immense amounts of compliments, but this reaction show that you do over on your YouTube channel, I know a lot of people out there in the space watch it. I delve into it a little bit as well. Tell the people where they can find it. Because I know it takes a lot of time. I know you sit there on the treadmill and you watch every snap of every game, and that's not actually even a lie. You really do it. So let's get some traction out of this. Where can people find it?
Cube Show on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you get yours. We are out every Monday now, usually Monday afternoon, evening. And yeah, we go through every SEC game, every snap, every play, and we just tell you what we saw. It's that simple. It's that easy. On Instagram and Twitter as well, at Cube Show.
There you go, people. Rewind it if you didn't hear him the first time. All right, you're headed to LSU this weekend, yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Interested to see just kind of where this offense is, really and truly. Because like I said, I think they've got some holes. We're not going to really learn much about them performance-wise in this game, but maybe personnel-wise, maybe what the future may hold about what they can unlock and do down the road, and can they get back on that Tier 1 with a couple other SEC teams.
All right. I'll send you some pictures from Nebraska. I'll talk to you later, man. Appreciate it.
Oh, I'm going to a rivalry game this week, an in-state rivalry game.
Lest
you
I
can go
forget.
wherever you want, and you can go have some bussin' bowl. I'm going to an in-state rivalry game where hatred is going to fuel the entire thing.
I stand by everything I said. Spreading that thing about 50 and a half, by the way. I'll talk to you next week.
Thank you.